The Everyday VOpreneur podcast is into the summer series. And the whole point of the summer series, other than giving me a little bit of a break on the podcast for editing and whatnot, is to give everyday VOpreneurs an opportunity to come on the show, ask one of their most pressing business and marketing questions, and hopefully get a brilliant answer that will propel them to new heights and levels of success and achievement in voiceover. Fingers crossed, one can hope. My guest today, Ali Lazzeri, has a very important question that she would like to ask, and I am hoping that I will be able to do this for her. So, Ali, welcome to the show. What is your question?
Thanks, Marc. So I have my general coaching, training, demos for commercial and narration.
Okay.
And through that process, I discovered that I wanted to focus on non-commercial narration.
Okay.
And I know from learning from you the steps I need to take, that I need to do specific coaching. I'm thinking maybe corporate and demos specifically for that genre.
Okay.
Hoping for Anne. That's my goal.
Right on.
But in the meantime, what can I be doing to prepare? Should I be reaching out to various leads, the leads that I got from my 100 leads challenge?
Sure.
Should I be reaching out to them even though I don't have that specific demo? Should I just stick with the general narration and commercial for now? Can I find scripts to practice with?
Lots to unpack here. This part of this is like one of the age-old voiceover chicken and egg scenarios where I know that I need more voiceover demos to earn more money in voiceover. But in order to get more voiceover demos, I would really like to earn some money in voiceover to pay for said demos. And so then we're stuck. What do we do? I still think having the professional demo is obviously an essential piece of the puzzle. That being said, I also think that one of the shifts that we're seeing in the industry, or at least that I've been seeing in the industry, is less of an emphasis on a full 60-second demo or 90-second demo. We still need them. Don't send me angry letters, all the demo producers. But having some clips, some samples, sometimes that could be enough to at least get your foot in the door. Because the reality is that our attention spans are completely fried thanks to Instagram and TikTok. Most people can't sit through a 90-second demo anyway, which that's a whole other podcast in and of itself, the sociological challenges that come from the fact that we've completely fried our attention spans. But what it does is it opens up the door to creating some clips or getting some clips that can maybe tide you over until you get to that fully produced professional demo. So I think there's a couple of ways that you can go about that. If you look on Voice 123, they actually have a thing in Voice 123. There's a setting in Voice 123 where the people who are doing the casting can say whether or not you're allowed to use this audition that you've submitted for demo purposes. Now, that's not going to give you a fully produced clip, but it might give you something that you could potentially work off of. And maybe you can add some background music or something like that. But that is certainly an option. Anything that you've booked becomes an option if you can get permission to use it. And so if you've ever done any kind of corporate narration, if you've ever booked a job through online casting or booked a job through your own marketing efforts or wherever work may have come, I always am reaching out. Usually I actually set a reminder in my CRM 30 days after I send after the final audio has been sent. I'll follow up with them just to check and see if the project's been completed. I might even go looking for it on social media or YouTube or whatever. And if I find it, even better, because then I can say, hey, I've came across the project that we worked on together on YouTube and would love to share it. And, would you be okay with me using this for demo purposes? And so then I can grab a sample from that project that I worked on. And that gives me another clip. And so if you look at my professional demos, between the few demos that I've got, I don't know, maybe there's, call it 25 or 30 clips. But if you look at my Voice 123 profile, there's probably 70 some odd clips on there. And so all of those other ones are either things that I've pulled from work that I've done, projects that I've worked on, or it's stuff that I've created on my own. And so I do think that that's a possibility. Now, is it going to sound as good? Not necessarily. we're not all producers. I'm not a professional producer or engineer, but can I make some stuff that sounds decent and is passable? Particularly, I would say in the non-broadcast space where maybe there's not quite as much production as involved as, a national commercial or whatever, right? Some employee onboarding training thing is probably just going to have some cheesy elevator music in the background anyway. And so it's really just a matter of having a good script that you can work off of. And so I think there are a few different things that you can do to give yourself a few more samples in the interim. Now, you said you have a commercial and a narration demo.
Yes.
I'm guessing that narration demo is a broad narration demo. There's probably something corporate, maybe something e-learning, maybe something that would be broadcast or documentary style narration or something. So it's got a little bit of everything on it, right? Is that
Yeah.
okay? Okay. So that can be broken up and put on your website into individual clips as well. And you can have your narration demo there, but you can take out the couple of clips that are more corporate narration oriented, and you could have them isolated out separately in the way that you list them on your website. And so then if you're directing or if you're direct marketing and a producer lands on your site, they can go straight to that corporate clip, which I think in some senses they would rather do anyway. Rather than listening through to a whole demo, let's go straight to exactly what we're looking for. So you could break up that demo and grab the corporate stuff out of there and post it kind of separately, even though the demo's all together. That would be potentially another option. As for scripts, again, I'm going to get in crap for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. ChatGPT is a pretty good writer. Claude actually is an even better writer. And so can you use AI to write some sample scripts that you could use for practice purposes in preparation? You mentioned I want to get myself ready. Could you do that? 100%. Could you write some sample scripts that you could use for building out a demo for yourself? 100%. I used ChatGPT to help me write some scripts for a real estate demo that I have on my website. I don't feel guilty about that. I mean, I might after this episode airs and, you know, somebody gets upset about the fact. I always get in trouble every time I talk about AI, but I'm using the tools that are available to me to be able to do the things that I want to be able to do. And so have I used it for that? Yeah, sure, I did. So those are all different options that can kind of tide you over. I still think the end goal is I want to get a corporate narration demo. You mentioned working with Anganguza, 100%. I just came out with a corporate narration demo that I did with the Demo Dream Team, which might actually be my favorite demo that I've ever done. Like it was just like I was not expecting to love a corporate narration demo as much as I love the corporate narration demo that I did with the Demo Dream Team. So
Yeah, I thought about them too. I've heard
yeah.
really good things about them.
And so, could I had my corporate demo up to that point had been just constantly updated with projects that I worked on. So I've never
Okay.
really had a professionally produced corporate narration demo because I've done so much work in the corporate narration space that I always just built it on projects. But I finally got to a point where I was like, man, I really just want to have a good, properly professionally produced one. And now it's like when I listen to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I have all those other samples up on my website before? Like that was embarrassing that this is what I was marketing myself with or whatever. And so, I mean, I still think even though I'm giving all of these different suggestions for things that you can do to be self-sufficient to get yourself to that demo, I still think that's the end goal is get yourself to that demo. But I understand not wanting to just completely sit on the sidelines while you wait for that demo to come because, at the end of the day, we want to make some money. Do you do any of the online casting platforms right now?
I used to be on Voices, but I'm not anymore.
Okay.
So
Having one of those would certainly be to your advantage, but again, not 100% necessary. So that's where I think maybe using ChatGPT or Claude or something like that to help you write some scripts. I think that could potentially be something that you could do. Or if you do have any work that you've done, going back to some of those clients and just saying, hey, would you mind if I used a sample of this for demo purposes or whatever? It gives you something that you can put on your website. You did say that you had a commercial demo.
yes.
One of the ways that you can also maximize what you have to work with right now, when you're looking at general purpose video production companies, a lot of those video production companies will do commercial work, but they also do corporate videos, explainer videos, training videos, right? They do all the things. And so even if you don't have a specific corporate narration demo, your commercial demo, if it's good, can be enough to get you in the door and open you up to some opportunities that you may not otherwise get. So would I go out and specifically market myself to production companies who exclusively specialize in corporate narration right now? I might save those ones until later. But most of the video production companies that you're going to look up are going to do more than one type of video anyway. So you've got a couple of demos that can get you in the door to start. So I don't think that you're just stuck at this point. I think you just have to be strategic.
Okay. Yeah, that all sounds good.
So
So you think,
that covers that off.
yeah.
There were like a part B and a part C to that as well. So and I've already forgot, so I apologize. But what else?
No, I think you pretty much covered A, B, and C. So you think that if I got ChatGPT to write a script and then kind of make a sample myself to put on my website, that's a start?
I think it's a start. Is it the best option? Maybe not the best option, but is it a start? If your choices are $2,500 to drop on a new commercial demo, or sorry, a new corporate demo, or nothing, because I don't have $2,500 to drop on a new corporate demo at this point, I'm gonna take my chances with myself. I'm
Okay.
gonna bet on myself. I'm gonna produce a couple of spots, just to give me a couple of samples, and hope that they're enough to at least get somebody to listen to me until such a time as I can get to that demo. And I know that I'm gonna get some pushback on that. Not everybody's gonna agree with that, but you got to do what you got to do to try to get opportunities for yourself. And I mean, I did it. I would post clips of projects that I was working on, and occasionally I would just self-produce a clip if I didn't have something specific for I wanted to hit a certain type of direction or whatever. If I didn't have something specific, I would just try to create something on my own and get away with it. So I think it is to your advantage to listen to a lot of corporate narration demos, and that's really easy to do. Go to demo producers websites, go to voices.com or go to voice123 and just go to voices.com, and they have a list there of their recently hired or the top talent or whatever. Go through the top talent and listen to their demos, and that will give you a sense of, okay, this is probably what it should sound like, or this is the type of read, or this is the type of style or whatever. Go into voice123 and do a search for corporate narration, female corporate narration voice or whatever. And the results that are going to come up are probably going to be some pretty good demos. So it gives you at least a frame of reference, a starting point. Right.
Okay.
And then I think that can also be you could argue it either way. It could be to your advantage when you finally get the opportunity to work with Ann or whoever it is that you decide to work with, that you've got a little bit of practice and you feel like you got a little bit of confidence built up. But then at the same time, you could also make the argument of reinforcing bad habits, right? If you don't know what you're doing in the genre and you keep practicing, but you're
Yeah.
practicing the wrong things, that's a problem too. But that's why I think that you can get a good starting frame of reference even just by listening to really great corporate narration demos. And I mean, when you go through YouTube and watch, make a list of 20 brands that you support, purchase, appreciate, respect, admire, whatever, and go into YouTube and do a search for them. And chances are there's going to be some corporate pieces on YouTube or on Vimeo for some of those brands, and just watch those just to get a sense of what does it sound like? What is the style of the read? What is the tone of voice and all of that? And so I think that there are things that you can do on the interim while you're working to make that professional demo that you really want happen.
Okay. Yeah, lots of good options there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that you can do. And I think that's also, it's one of the exciting developments, I guess, because this sort of stuff wasn't always easily accessible. Not everybody's a writer, right? Okay, so now you can use AI. There's so many different places where you can get access to royalty-free music beds and sound effects and all of that sort of stuff. So could you do a little bit of basic production? Yeah. And like, if you told me I want to do character or gaming or animation, I'd probably be like, yeah, you might be a little screwed, because it's just a totally different world. Corporate narration is not super overproduced. Like, it's pretty straightforward stuff, most of it. I still think there are things that you need to understand about the delivery and all of that, but can you get a really great read with a very simple music track and have something that sounds passable for this is my confident and trustworthy, this is my sincere and engaging, or whatever, pick a few different types of reads that you specialize in. I think you can make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, my son is into film editing, so gonna
So then you have the
gonna
opportunity.
ask his.
Now you got the opportunity to take it one step further, because you make record a couple of spots for yourself and then add video to it as well. And now you've
There you
got
go.
video samples, right? And so now with video samples, that's something you can share on LinkedIn or Instagram, or if you're using any of the social media platforms, that gives you even yet another marketing tool that you can use, because now you've got the audio and the video.
Yeah, because I've heard that using the video along with the audio is a lot more engaging.
Sure.
That gets a lot more attention than just the audio.
Whether we want to admit it or not, I mean, Instagram is a video platform now. It's no longer a photography platform. It's a video platform. LinkedIn is becoming a video platform, right? YouTube shorts are just as popular, if not more popular, than long form video content on YouTube. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. You share those short form clips everywhere now. Threads, X, whatever, name it, Blue Sky. You could literally post them anywhere. You could put them on your website, right? You could make 3 or 4 different clips for yourself. You pick 4 different types of reads that you think are appropriate to corporate narration. This is my conversational. This is my, professional and confident. This is my sincere and engaging. Whatever. Pick 4 different reads just for the fun of it, and you make clips for each one of those reads. And you said your son, right? Your son edits up some videos for you, and now you've got 4 different pieces of content that you can share that are specific to, it's not just corporate narration. This is my such and whatever the read is. And you can kind of walk through the thought process behind the creation of that spot, and almost like a case study type thing. And so now you've got an audio clip, you've got a video sample, and you've got a targeted text post for social media. And then you could even turn that, if you wanted to go to a 4th one, you could add a page on your website for that video, where that video gets embedded and it talks about the type of read, and becomes kind of like a case study page on your website. And so now this one thing just became 4 pieces of marketing collateral that can be shared across multiple different channels.
Bada boom, bada bing.
There you go. I mean, it sounds so easy, right? No problem. I'm gonna go do this afternoon.
Yeah.
I hope that's helpful, though. I hope that gives you a place to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I've got lots of ideas rolling around in there now.
That's all I want to hear. Let me know when the first one's done. I want to see it or hear it or both.
Yeah, absolutely.